The Swedish Democrat Richard Jomshof, he's chairman of the Justice Committee in Sweden. He's currently facing charges for incitement against an ethnic group due to his social media post about mass migration and its negative effects. And here you can see the post.
Okay.
You have been convicted for incitement against an ethnic group three times already. How has this impacted your political career?
Well, first of all, I can say that I never wanted to have these verdicts. I never wanted to have these sentences. In Finland, it's really hard to know when you will get sentenced for expressing your opinions. So there's a thin line, like what you can say and what you cannot, and this is a very bad thing because people should be able to know where goes the line. So the legislation is not enough sharp. That's the first point. But then when I got the sentences, so of course people came to support me because they felt that the sentences were unjustified. I was expressing the opinions of people. I was releasing some messages that some citizens who were anxious what was going on in Finland concerning immigration. I was publishing those messages and doing the right thing and getting sentenced for that. So that brought a lot of support from the Finnish population.
As an experienced veteran in this field, do you have any advice for Richard Jomshof?
My first advice would be that fight. Richard, fight hard, because what will happen to you, actually, then afterwards it will happen to other people in Sweden. So your fight is all about fighting for the Swedish people and their freedom of expressing their views freely. This is totally crazy situation we are living at the moment. We are living the era of freedoms. The humanity, the Western world, we have been fighting so hard to get these freedoms, and now these freedoms have started to be taken away from us one by one. And this is a very good example of this process. In America, which is basically like a model for us when it comes to freedom of speech, people would laugh to these images, that it's possible to be in court process because of these images. So like we need to stick to those freedoms that we have achieved. And I would also say that if you don't fight, so these freedoms are going to be taken away, and then people, the most bad thing what will be happening is that people will start self-censoring themselves. So because then it's going to be another example of like, yeah, if you say the truth or if you tell your opinions or if you make jokes, so you might be the next online, and then people start to self-censor themselves.
And if Richard Jomshof is convicted for these so-called crimes, is this the end of freedom of speech as we know it in the Western world?
Well, categorically, I cannot say that it's the end for like only because of this case, but what I can say right away is that, of course, we will take one step more towards ending the freedom of speech. And this is why we need to fight really hard every case. If in the first court session you get sentenced, so then you need to appeal to the second one and fight really that you could win the case. And well, for his political career, of course, it's not going to be over. What happened to me, I got the first sentence for freedom of speech when I was not even in the Finnish parliament. I was just a regular city councillor. And then I got to Finnish parliament. People started voting more and more because they felt that the court sentence was unjustified. And then last elections in Finnish parliament, I got the record high result of votes. And I think big part of it was that I was the voice for people. I was telling those ideas, thoughts that they had in their head, but they were maybe afraid to say. And now I'm the only MEP from the whole Finns party list that got through, even though I have 3 of this freedom of speech court sentences. So Yeah.
So you actually got more support after these verdicts.
Yeah, well, and as I mentioned, I never wanted to have this sentence, never, because they will limit the freedom of speech of just regular Swedish or Finnish people. But because people were so angry that how can this happen in these good societies what we have like Finland and now in Sweden, so that resulted a lot more votes because people feel like somebody needs to be able to be vocal when it comes to immigration, when it comes to Islam. And actually what Richard is doing at the moment with these pictures, he's actually fighting also for the freedom of for cartoonists. We know what has been happening in Europe, for example, in the office of Charlie Hebdo. Those cartoonists who were making some memes of Prophet Muhammad, these cartoonists, they were killed and murdered because of these Islamists. So actually Richard is fighting also for the press and cartoonists at the same time.
But what does it say about the legal system when they use lawfare to try to silence the opposition?
Well, this whole idea how these laws are being implemented in the court. So I would say that this is leftist viewpoint how they're implementing those laws. Those laws shouldn't be implemented this way. They shouldn't be implemented this sensitive way. So if this is going to be the direction that the courts are going to decide, so then we as a politicians, we have a responsibility to react to this development and what it means. So we with the Finns party in Finland already have suggested that we should change the law because it was never intended to be used for this type of cases. So that's going to be the next step that we need to do so that we could secure the freedom of speech of the nation.
Islam is a series of thoughts. Why have we ended up here that we can't criticize Islam?
Well, this is part of the woke movement that we have one religion which actually is not only religion but it's political system at the same time with Sharia laws and everything. So we have ended up in the situation that because some people want to support multiculturalism, so they end up supporting also Islam because of multiculturalism. But these people who are doing that should understand that we cannot just support like any type of cultures and any type of way of living because it might be the opposite to what we believe in. So for example, in Islam, it's against women's rights. It's against gay rights. Like I am a gay man. I don't want to see the world where Sharia law is in place in society like some Islamist politicians wants to do and so many other things. So it's just crazy that we cover Islam, secure Islam because of multiculturalism.
Thank you so much, Sebastian.
Thank you. And very much I really wish all the best for Richard for his fight. Be brave for Swedish people. Fight, Richard. Hard.